Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. For the LexTechReview webinar series, we are going to be covering email marketing, decreasing client no-show rates, and automating your law firm. I'm very excited about this course. I've taught it all over the country, and now it's extra special because I have a guest with me today who has really done a tremendous amount to help give attorneys and small law firms the tools that they need to automate their practice. So before we jump right into it, I am going to give you a few housekeeping notes. So just a couple things to be mindful of. In the webinar tool that you have today, if you have questions, make sure that you open the chat box, and then inside there is a section to just note that it is an actual question. So it's different than a chat message. Just lets me know that that's a question that you have, and we'll either tackle them at the end or make sure that we email you answers following the webinar if we don't have time today. I know we've got a lot of material to cover. You can also click on this webinar video at any time to pause it, and then click on it again to resume. So just a nice way, if you need to go grab a coffee or a water, you can take a break and come back. Try and make it really easy for you. So I am so excited to have David Bitton, CEO of PracticePanther, with us on today's webinar. And just to give you a little bit of information about myself and David, I'm the founder of LexTechReview. It's a legal technology blog that shares and profiles solutions that can be used to automate, to make more efficient, to be more productive in just daily law firm life for solos all the way up to mid-size firms. And I've traveled the country, done every legal conference practically that there is. And I will tell you just a little bit about when I met David and the PracticePanther team. So, you know, I do these conferences and we're promoting services and software for law firms and doing CLEs. And all of a sudden, this team all dressed in blue with PracticePanther t-shirts and like crazy excited, like just started showing up at conferences. Like practically overnight, they were everywhere. I do a lot of these events, and all of a sudden, they were everywhere that I was. And that's like really hard. I swear I'm on and off a plane at least like 2-3 times a week. So all of a sudden I'm like, are you guys like following me? Do you have like a login to my American Airlines account? Like, I don't even know how, like all of a sudden you were everywhere, like overnight. And so David and I got a chance to meet. He is the CEO of PracticePanther, which is a new in the market, but has been around actually for a few years. Awesome practice management solution. I'm actually going to be talking about a few of the features that they have for law firms to help automate their processes. So David, to get things kicked off, let's give everybody a little bit of background on you. You're an author, you're a CLE speaker, and founder of PracticePanther. He's obsessed with automating law firms and with today's technology, and is helping revolutionize the legal industry to get more done in less time using the tools provided in PracticePanther's case management software. David, thank you for having us. It's quite an impressive resume. Tell us a little bit more about what we're going to be covering today.
Well, thank you, first of all, so much for having us. You know, it's been great knowing you over the last few months, and getting to know you. LexTechReview is awesome, so I really appreciate you having me on. And by the way, I love the American flag in the background.
America here. Fantastic, just everywhere, all the time. We just came out of Hurricane, Irma, and just a crazy storm season. So it's nice to see the sun shining in Miami again.
Yeah, I agree. So the agenda, so we're going to do a few things here. We're going to teach the attorneys and paralegals and legal professionals on the call how to automate your firm with 8 must-have tools that I personally use on a daily basis myself as well. I believe you're going to help us a lot with a lot of the email marketing side of things. We'll talk about how to automate your email campaigns with MailChimp. We'll go into a little bit about what makes a good practice management software, or what is one. And I know one of your favorite topics, how to decrease client no-show rates using SMS alerts. And one brand new thing we're going to talk about is how to never miss another deadline again.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we've got some of my favorites in here today. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it. And we're going to kind of be switching back and forth on these presentation topics. So 5 tools to automate your firm, which, you and I were setting up a calendar appointment for this just a couple of weeks ago, and it was crazy. It was like, watch this, look at what it can do. And so tell me about, these are some of your favorites. We're going to get into email marketing and a little bit of the SMS alerts and stuff later on, but these are 5 that you have a personal affinity for. Can you walk us through them?
Yeah, so the top of the list, it's brand new, my all-time favorite. It's a website called x.ai, and basically what it is, it's artificial intelligence scheduling for your calendar, appointments, meetings, and stuff like that. So just to give everyone an example, when we were trying to schedule the phone call or webinar with me and Chelsey, I emailed Chelsey saying, hey, what time works best for you? And then I copied this virtual AI assistant named Amy. They have, I think, Amy and Andrew, and say, hey, please schedule a call for this week, anytime for 1.5 hours. And what they do is they will automatically reach out to you or to Chelsey in that case, and they have my calendar linked to their program. So it automatically says, hey, Chelsey, David's available on this date and this time, and these are 4 other options. What works best for you? And it's all automatic. Now, on the other end, it's a little creepy, but on the other end, for your clients, or like in Chelsey's case, she didn't know, or your clients won't know, that it's an artificial intelligence scheduler. It looks like a random person named Amy. So you write back, hi, Amy, Tuesday at 11 a.m. works perfect. Thank you so much. She schedules it. She sets up the calendar appointment, the phone call appointment. Everything is done for you, puts it in both your calendars. It's awesome. And Chelsey, I know you've seen it in action. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And then what was also interesting is when we had to move it, like I think we were both leaving because of the crazy storm situation. We're like, no, we got to move this appointment. And it automatically went and said, oh, no problem. I'm going to let David know. I mean, it was to the point where if you didn't tell me ahead of time, I'd be like, oh, David, we got an assistant. That's super cool.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
It was that seamless.
Yeah.
A couple of other favorites for you.
So number 2 would probably be the top of my list, streak.com. We use it in the entire company today. It is email snippets, snoozing, and a few other cool features like email scheduling. So I'll go over each one. So streak.com, you go to streak.com, you install the plugin. It is only if you use Google Business Apps or Gmail. So if you have a Gmail email address, it's only for you. But what it does is, let's say we have a lot of people in the company or you're in your law firm, you can create email templates that you use all the time and share them with everyone in the company. And everyone can add templates, everyone can edit the templates, so everyone can be using the same exact format that you want for your emails. That's number 1. Number 2.
Fantastic.
Snoozing, one of my favorite features I use daily. Let's say you have to follow up with a client. Did you get my proposal? Did you get my retainer agreement? Can you make it to court this day? Whatever it is, you email them. How do you know if they're going to follow back with you and email you back? You might forget to follow up with them. Some people put calendar reminders, don't forget to follow up with them. What snoozing does, I could send an email to someone and then I could snooze it to come back to my inbox 1 day later, 3 days later, a week later, whenever I want. So it will come back to the top of my inbox and remind me to keep following up on this conversation. Awesome. And the last quick thing it does, it allows you to schedule emails to send in the future. So if I want to send an email to a client or someone this Friday at 1 p.m., I can automatically do that as well. Then going into the next one is actually like something we've been using also for a while. I'm sure a lot of you who deal with us have seen this in action, but not realizing that it's automatically doing it for us. It's a little secret. It's a little trick we use that I'm giving now to you as well. It's the first time I have ever shared the secret, actually, and it is rebump.com. Yes, Chelsea's getting excited. So it is automated email follow-up. So taking snoozing to a whole new level. Let's say you email your client a retainer agreement and say, hi, here's the retainer agreement. Please fill it out. Let me know what you think. Awaiting your reply. You're waiting for an answer back. So what if they don't answer you back? Rebump, you BCC rebump.com. They connect to their email, and they know if that person replied back or not. So if your client didn't reply back in 3 business days, for example, automatically it will send an email from you back to your client saying, hey, did you get my last email? If they don't respond to that, I know, it's crazy. If they don't respond to that email, 5 days later, for example, another email follow-up, another one. So we have 4 email follow-ups within a span of 30 days to continually follow up to make sure they reply back. And you should be doing the same thing with your clients. It automates your follow-up process. Pretty cool, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, and with an average of anywhere from, 150 to 700 emails a day, in some cases, depends on how many sources you have coming in and notices and deadlines and everything else, it just gets lost. I mean, you look at an email in the car, it's marked as, oh, which you shouldn't be doing if you're driving, sorry.
Yep.
And then and then you should, and then it's marked, read. And to me, it's like, what do you look at in your inbox first? You look for all the unread messages, and then you're supposed to filter and go back. So that's a great way to just stay on top of your inbox and make sure that everything is getting followed up on.
Exactly. And just to add as well, they'll try to get you to install an extension on your browser. You don't need it. It works on any email, Outlook, Exchange, Office 365, Gmail, whatever you're using. You just BCC. So anyone can BCC, and that's how it works. Awesome. Will change your life. It will change your life. I think it's $5 a month also, so totally worth it.
Oh, yeah. It's less than a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. And the next one, number 4, is probably the most popular one on this list. A lot of people know about this, but if you don't, it's another great one to always add in, Hootsuite.com. Chelsey, you're familiar with Hootsuite, I'm sure, right?
Yes, use it for myself and for my clients.
Okay, and we use it also. So for the attorneys or paralegals listening out there, what you can do on Hootsuite is link all your social media accounts to it. So Facebook, Twitter, all these accounts, and you can go on when you're in the zone, schedule 10 posts or 10 tweets, and schedule them to go out at certain dates and times, so you automate all your social media posts. Also, one of the worst parts that I found about social media is keeping up with it. You forget, and then 3 months go by. The worst thing you want to do is have your Facebook page or your Instagram or your Twitter be dead. No activity for 6 months. It just makes your clients realize or maybe think that you're not in business anymore, or you're not active, or nothing's happening. So this way, when you get in the zone one night, just crank out an hour of tweets or messages and schedule them for months to come. You do the same thing?
For months to come. Yeah, absolutely. And I like it because it has, each of your profiles is a column. So you've got 4 columns. I actually teach this in a social media marketing class. And it's like, just keep the columns full. That's really all you have to do, is just keep the columns full, and you know that things are going to get scheduled out. And it also gives you analytics as to, who's responding to what. So which posts are you putting out there that are actually getting more traction, which is, very basic marketing reporting that everybody should be paying attention to.
Correct.
And then Law Toolbox is the last one on the list. So you're particularly excited about this because we have some news to share.
Yes. Actually, this is the first time we're sharing this news. No one knows about this yet, but we are just coming out right now this week with a brand new partner called lawtoolbox.com to automate deadline calendaring. So our big goal here, obviously, is to automate the firms of attorneys and law firms to make life a lot easier, get more done in less time, be more productive, so you can actually go home at night and spend time with your family. That's really, I know. My wife's an attorney, so she always used to come home late. So now she comes home early, on time. We can have dinner together. So it's amazing. So what it does is it automates your deadline calendaring. So you get something from the court. It says this is the deadline, this is the date. You go in to, let's say, PracticePanther.com. You say, I want to add in this jurisdiction of Miami, Florida, Miami-Dade County, for example. This is the court rule. I select it, and boom, it populates a list of all the upcoming deadlines, taking into account weekends, holidays, federal holidays, local holidays. All this is calculated for you. And in one click, you say, add to my calendar. It adds all the events to your calendar for the whole firm's calendar. You will never miss a deadline again. It will save you from malpractice lawsuits, bar complaints, and everything. We're going to cover more on that later on, but awesome. Game changer.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we have quite an agenda, and thank you so much for sharing these tools. Everybody, you will be able to, watch this at a later date. So if you didn't take notes, it'll be available for you. So email marketing. We're going to start off today by talking about one of my most favorite vehicles because it has the highest rate of return for something that can be automated. So when we talk about email marketing return or return on investment, which for any marketing that you're doing for your firm, you should be looking at, okay, I'm going to spend this amount of money or time, and this is what I'm going to get back. And I have the great honor of being able to tutor brand new lawyers at the Justice Entrepreneurs Project in Chicago, which is an incubator for brand new lawyers, very similar to the incubators that are popping up all over the country at law schools. And it was my role to come in and coach them on their marketing. And when you're just getting started, like you really are, relying on your network and relying on the connections and every person that you meet, every business card that you collect, you need to be putting into an email list and marketing to them via email, via newsletters. And it was really an inexpensive way for a lot of those lawyers to get started. And it's also a core piece of any marketing strategy that a law firm should have. There should be a monthly newsletter that goes out. And with the monthly newsletter, they might share it with a friend. The lifespan or the sales cycle of a legal services prospect or lead could actually be 6 months, a year, or 2 years down the road. And while it's something where you're going to send them a newsletter and they might not pick up the phone and call you that day, they might run into a friend who is having a personal situation. Either they want to buy a house, or they're contemplating divorce, or they have a child custody issue, over the weekend at a party or a barbecue. And this is now something that they can forward on to people that they know. So it keeps your law firm at top of mind, and then it also gives people an opportunity to share and promote your business. So what I want to focus on with email marketing is the difference between an e-newsletter and a campaign. So when we talk about email marketing, which I'm really excited to have you on today, David, because MailChimp is integrated into PracticePanther. And I use MailChimp for my own business, but there's also, it's very inexpensive. You can sign up and you get a large number of contacts and sends are actually free during the trial period. And then you can do all kinds of crazy stuff with it. They're always adding new features. But to understand the purpose of a tool like this is for one of two things: to send a monthly newsletter, which keeps your law firm at top of mind, shares what you're doing in the community, gives general information about the firm, the practice areas that you serve. It's an educational vehicle. Whereas a campaign is a series of emails that speaks to a very specific type of client. So I always ask attorneys, tell me in an ideal world, who's your perfect client? Who is the person that if you could just have 10 clients like this or 20 clients like this, like you would be so happy? Because so many attorneys practice what we like to call door law, which is like, oh, hey, anything that comes through the door. But the downside of that is, and let's just kind of walk through this scenario in any kind of marketing, when you don't focus on becoming an expert in what you do and sharing your expertise and your knowledge through a vehicle like an email newsletter or an email campaign, people can't remember who they should send your way. So if you meet somebody at a barbecue and you say, oh, well, I do, I handle real estate, I handle personal injury, and I do a little bit of criminal defense, and, if you want to buy a house or, somebody gets in trouble and needs to be bailed out of jail, like, I'm that guy. Like, it's actually not effective. But if you say, I advocate for fathers who are trying to get custody of their children, that is like a very, very specific, and this is when we talk about, niche marketing and how much more effective it is. I know it sounds scary because it seems like you're going to turn away a lot of people, but it's actually 100 times more effective. So the difference between a newsletter and a campaign is a newsletter is something that you send once a month to your entire list that gives information about your firm, has a few different sections. Campaigns are a series of emails that are written to sell a very specific service. So they're sent as a sequence. I'm going to send this group of people who I know are interested in or a potential candidate for my law firm services one email every week that is going to ask them to do something. And when we ask them to do something, it's called a call to action. That's kind of like the, marketing vocabulary, like number one item in the book. This is like the term to know, call to action. Every page on your website should have one. Every landing page that you should have one. Every email that you send should have one. You have to have a call to action in everything that you do because people are just not motivated. It's like you give us a bunch of options, we're going to choose nothing. You tell us to do one thing and give us a deadline, it kind of sticks in your mind. So that's the background on it.
Just ask you a quick question about that, by the way. On the last slide, you said you have campaigns you send to specific groups of people. So a lot of the attorneys I meet on their website, like you said, they have 20 practice areas. Do you recommend that when they add a potential client or lead into MailChimp, or whatever email they use, they create a group and they have different lists for this is a personal injury client, this is a family law client, then sending specific campaigns to specific clients? Yes. Is that what you recommend?
Yes. And this is as simple as, if you have a website and let's just say that you do family law and bankruptcy, two practice areas that are fairly complementary. Unfortunately, bankruptcy often will beget, or divorce will often beget bankruptcy, or bankruptcy will often beget divorce. They unfortunately happen together sometimes. So if a visitor comes to a page that's dedicated to divorce or family law, and they fill out a form, MailChimp or any other email marketing tool will already segment them based on the form that they filled out. Or if you're using a case management system like PracticePanther, you could tag them. You could create groups. And so by saying, hey, this person came to the family law page and submitted a form there, I'm pretty sure they're going to be interested in divorce, child custody, other family law issues. If they go to the bankruptcy page and they submit there, then that's how you actually qualify a prospect. And that is the most basic level of marketing qualification. And just to kind of give you some terminology, when we talk about marketing, there's a lead and then there's a marketing qualified lead. And a marketing qualified lead is actually much more likely to convert because you know more about this person. Marketing has done its job of saying, hey, this person has self-selected into a particular practice area, which gives you the green light to enroll them in a campaign. And this is really where you start to see conversion rates dramatically change. If you have 100 people and you don't know anything about them, you're blasting off messages and then you get frustrated because nobody's doing anything. But if you segment them, and you say, okay, I know group A is family law and group B is bankruptcy, then I can send group A a message every single week. And using family law as an example, it can be something like 3 things to know about child custody before filing for divorce, or divorce and asset allocation in the state of Florida, which we're in, or specific to where you are. And so by sending these very pointed, specific educational messages in nature, where at the bottom it has an option for you to say, if every single case is different. Just make sure that you have a disclaimer on there. I'll give some examples. Every case is different. The only way to really determine what your legal options are is to have a private and confidential conversation with us. Click this button to call or click this button to schedule. And MailChimp has really awesome features built in where, you can create buttons where it will take them back to a website. It will take them to a forum. It will take them to a phone number. And with smartphones, 86% of traffic is coming from a mobile device. They look beautiful on the phone. You can also implement some like emojis in the subject line, which are like really popular, and your open rates are higher. Right, I do as well. Because people are reading these on their phone, and just the same way that you would text and use emojis, now like emails are more friendly because they're there too. So it's crazy to see this evolve, so much from years ago when nobody did email marketing to now we're like embedding text message icons into our messages. So going through, we've got a lot of ground to cover. So eNewsletters on the left, 1 message per month sent to your entire list. And this is meant to keep them to keep the law firm top of mind. And then on the right, we have messages which build off of each other to incite a call to action. So 1 a week is the typical cadence for an email campaign. Now, how do you figure out what to say to that campaign recipient? You want to build a persona. So we have Sample Sally here. I like to go through this example with my clients, and whether they are a personal injury firm or an estate planning firm, you have to know who you're talking to, and then you also have to know where they hang out. It's like, do they live in the suburbs? Are they a member of the PTA? Are advertising or sponsoring a local soccer team? Is that where you're gonna meet Sample Sally? And when you build that out of, it gives you a lot of insights into how to talk to this particular prospect via email. So who, what, where, why, and when.
Now this is awesome. Awesome stuff. I love this newsletter.
Good. So this is a basic one, and they can really look as fancy or as simple as you want. I worked with an estate planning firm who used the templates, and it was literally a story that she would tell in every single newsletter about, the reasons or the background information on what made estate planning planning with a lawyer different than estate planning using something like LegalZoom. And, you know, after a couple of those messages, she started getting clients from her newsletter. She was so excited and called me, you know, so it's really important that you make this something that you can do in a routine. You know, don't bite off more than you can chew. It doesn't, it can be very simple. Now, this is an together for a probate law practice. Now you can see the difference in messaging right away. So this law for probate, and we are alternating between a written piece of advice, or not direct advice, obviously, but written educational material and a video. So if it's easier for you to alternate and do, you know, quick 2-3 minute videos, even 1, you know, to 5 minute videos that share, you know, how to keep your family strong and together during a really difficult time in their life where assets are caught in probate, where there's arguing about the will, all kinds of stuff that might be going on in life around you. You know, how do you keep your family together? Or when do you talk to your parents about, you know, their plans and whether or not they have wills, or, you know, the overall process. Those are hard conversations that you know, have to have before it's too late. And so this particular campaign was extremely effective, and you can use this as an example. You can take pieces that you like, take pieces that you don't, and then define what's comfortable. If it's easier for you to do video instead of sitting down and writing an article, then do that. It's really, at the end of the day, what is most realistic for you. And I always akin email marketing to, or any type of marketing, to like that New Year's, I'm going to lose 50 pounds, you know, plan where we say we're going to do all this stuff and then we go to the gym 5 times and we hurt ourselves. Like, just do what feels comfortable and build upon that. If getting 1 email out a month is where you need to start, it's better than doing nothing, which is where you might have been before you decided to take action. So next
Awesome.
up is...
by the way, I love how you give people the actual examples of what they should be sending out. A lot of people have no idea what campaigns they should be sending, so that's great.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Well, I mean, it comes from, you know, years of like just figuring out those messages. And the best way is to really do that, you know, persona, and put yourself in the client's shoes of, you know, I have had law firms come to me and say, I don't understand why my social media isn't working. And I go look at their page and it's like free consultation, open from 9 to 5. We have 5 locations. Like, you're not talking about their problem. So, I mean, that's really, if you're in a tough time in your life, or it's something happy like getting married or starting a business or buying a house, you should be talking about that. That's what that person is living in, and that's what they care about. All right, so great newsletters and campaigns are delivering value. They are helping your reader. You're asking them to do something. There's a clear call to action there. It's got clean design, as well as a strong subject line. So, you know, just be mindful and make it something that they're going to want to open, not Smith & Smith's June newsletter. I don't really know what Smith & Smith did in June, but it doesn't really sound that exciting. So maybe, you know, talk about it. We're coming up on, you know, Thanksgiving, how our law firm helped feed 100 families, or this donation program that we have, or a story about, you know, a client who just got a settlement, something that you can share with readers that is going to incite them to want to open that email. That's the key with subject lines. And then a personal touch. Photos never hurt. Establishing who you are, or helping them remember, if you met someone in person, you know, a year ago and you're still sending them your newsletter, it would be nice to include a photo of yourself or of employees. Celebrating anniversaries, other things like that are also great ways, which we have some ideas for you here. So employee bios, frequently asked questions, charity or community work, client testimonials, new social media pages. So any social media pages that you've recently launched, if now all of a sudden, you know, your law firm is on Snapchat because you do business law and you're spreading information about ways that you can protect your business or starting a business. There's so much information out there now. Any reason that you have to promote those social media pages can always be featured in a newsletter or a campaign. And the next is getting started. So it really just comes down to making the decision that you're going to do this and going for it. So write your subject line, decide and title your sections. This is for a newsletter or for a campaign. If you have 2 to 4 emails, that's going to buy you an entire month and a half. You don't have to write all 12 at once. Do the first 2. That buys you another week or 2 to figure out what's going to come after that. And at least you've gotten it started. And now you're also going to be motivated to keep the machine moving.
Yep.
So MailChimp. David, I am going to turn it over to you because you are an absolute, guru in this area. I personally use MailChimp for my business, but you have a new level or a higher level of expertise because PracticePanther is actually integrated with MailChimp. So
Yes.
Would you like to, share just a little bit of a few of the reasons why you love it?
Yeah, so I actually got familiar with MailChimp maybe 5-10 years ago. And the reason I liked it is because of the ease of use, usability, user-friendliness, intuitive. It was just the easiest platform that I found. And I tried Constant Contact, I have Vertical, and much more complicated ones. This is just easy. They have an amazing free trial. You can use it, I think, for 2,000 contacts for free, forever. And even the paid version is very affordable. So it's great, it's easy, and I highly recommend it. Now, I also love it because they let you build your own templates. They give you amazing, easy-to-use templates. You can just select the template, use a drag-and-drop builder to drag-and-drop images or text or videos, whatever you want. And the number 3 is probably the most important part for me. It allows you to send automated drip campaigns. So you were talking a bit about that. So drip campaign is a fancy word for monthly newsletter, monthly campaign, just like you were saying before. But basically, the idea is set it and forget it. Like you were saying, when you're in the zone, knock out a few good templates, and then just schedule them to automatically send out. And MailChimp has something called automation. So what you do is, anytime you add someone to a certain list in MailChimp, automatically send them the first email the first day, the second email a week later, the third email a month later, whatever you want, but it's automatic. You never need to worry about it again. So for a lot of those people that are signing up to PracticePanther, for example, they're going to notice all those automatic emails coming in with high quality content. We don't try to sell you or pitch you or this or that. Just like Chelsey was saying, you want to offer good advice and good quality content. And Chelsey, like you said before, number 4, email campaigns are a great way to stay top of mind when your clients forget about you or your leads forget about you. It's a great way to reiterate, oh yeah, they're here. I forgot about them. So it's awesome. We love it. And that's also one of the reasons why we decided to integrate exclusively for now with MailChimp. And if you go to the next slide, I believe we have a picture of the integration and kind of how it works as well.
Yes.
So, well, first we put a quote in here, I think. I think you mentioned this to me a while ago, right?
Yeah, so text messaging is the new email, and email is the new advertising because, we're just so inundated that, and, people, talk about how you will text someone more often than you will call them. Well, in the same way, I'm going to open an email more often than I'm going to open a stack of mail that I know, is sitting, or look at billboards or drive around in my car because I'm going to be distracted looking at other things. So it's just a way for you to stay top of mind. And these are some of the reasons why you should sync MailChimp with PracticePanther because it offers so many built-in tools and features where it makes that process seamless. And we're going to get into the text messaging part because it's like my favorite thing right now. I just love it so much. So I'll save that excitement for later. You can go over the MailChimp stuff.
Okay, cool. So once again, the whole goal of all these integrations and partnerships and emails and all this stuff is automated. You set it once and you forget about it. So step 1, very simple. You can sync PracticePanther with MailChimp. Step 2, you can sync your tags with your lists. So in PracticePanther, you have tags, which are kind of like lists or groups. So you could have a tag for this is a family client. This is a personal injury client. Whatever it is, you can have these tags set up. Then you can set up the same tags, which are called lists in MailChimp. So anytime you add a new contact, client, or lead in PracticePanther, and you tag them as a personal injury client, it will automatically sync them to your MailChimp list for personal injury, and they will automatically get your personal injury email campaigns. That's the beauty of it. So that's number 3, automation. And we also just spoke about number 4 as well. Now, the way to bring it around full circle is number 5. It is my favorite part. Intake forms. You can add a contact form or intake form on your website. When they fill out that form, like Chelsey said, it could be a personal injury form. They fill out that form, it automatically adds all their information, phone number, email, all their information into PracticePanther as a new contact, which will automatically tag it as a personal injury form, for example, which will automatically sync that tag with a list in MailChimp, which will automatically send the automated email campaigns with MailChimp. And I'm stressing the word automatically because that's the idea. You don't have time to do things manually anymore. It's all about automation, and that's it.
Yeah, and I can speak to this personally because my attorney, I recently had a situation where I had to hire an attorney here in Miami, and it was incredible. I mean, from the time that I got off the phone with him to when I had an intake form in my email that I could fill out over the phone, I hit submit, all of a sudden I'm getting a retainer agreement, I'm signing it electronically, and then boom, I'm getting emails from the firm. I mean, it had to have been less than 5 minutes.
Wow.
And it was the most incredible experience because, as you know, being on and off a plane so many times, during the week and traveling and running a business and just having like a busy, life or a stacked schedule, you appreciate those things and your clients appreciate those things. And it's no different than a consumer going to a doctor's office or booking a hair appointment or, anything that we do in our daily lives. We expect that level of ease and sophistication because it's what we've been trained to do. And so now we're looking at attorneys to deliver that same level of client experience. So that brings us to the next section of today's program, which is practice management software, which, David, I think you know a little bit about.
a little all too well, yeah.
A little bit.
So a lot of people don't know what that word means. What is practice management software? What is case management software? So we'll just give you really a quick 1-minute refresher on what it is if you're not really familiar with it. So PracticePanther is a secure and easy to use case management software. Our biggest differentiator from all the rest is ease of use. We want to make it as easy and seamless as possible. Just like when you got your first iPhone, you turn it on, it guides you through the setup process, and you're off to use it within minutes, not hours. No long webinars, no long training needed. You can start, sign up, free trial all yourself with no credit card needed. Just try it out, and you can start using it right away. And I believe in the next slide we have some features and benefits, but really the main benefits and goals of using a software like this is organize your life, organize your law firm. Get more done in less time. Automate your firm. Stop doing things manually. Stop using servers, expensive servers, paying for expensive IT support, VPNing into your servers. If you lose internet, you can't work anymore. So everything is in the cloud now. You can access all your client data from any device, anywhere in the world. You can take a vacation, not have to worry about work not getting done in the office because you can keep track of everything. And what is everything? A lot of things. Contact and matter management. You can manage all your documents in the system. You have a client portal, which lets you invite your clients to log in through your website, and you could share files, you can communicate securely, you could share invoices, they can pay you online. All this is available today in 2017. Legal billing, you can bill your clients in one click. So a lot of attorneys I know doing things the old way, it takes them a full day at the end of the month, 8 to 10 hours just to put all the paperwork together and Word invoices and save them as a PDF and print them and put them in an envelope and mail them. It's crazy. And a lot of people are still doing this, unfortunately. So today, you hit one button, generate invoices, and then one more button, send invoices. That's it. And you even have automated email follow-ups. So if they don't pay you, it will automatically email your customers for you, letting them know, hey, you have to pay us. And
yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, very important. Next one, trust accounting. So I know in Florida at least, IOTA reporting, trust accounting, auditing is very important. You must make sure you're compliant. You must make sure you can accurately track and manage and report how much money you have in your trust account for every client and every matter. So in a nutshell, there's a lot of features and there's so much you can do. And moving on to the next slide, integrations. The whole goal is not to change your workflow drastically. So Chelsey, if you can just switch back just to integrations for a second. Yeah, no worries. So integrations, there's a ton of companies and programs that we integrate with, and we chose these because these are the ones that you're already using today. You don't need to learn anything new. Just plug and play. If you're using Gmail or Outlook or Office 365 or Exchange or QuickBooks or Box, Dropbox, or MailChimp, for example, we're always adding new integrations. One click, sync your accounts over, and you're doing things the way you work today, just all in one and a lot more organized.
This is fantastic. And the one thing that I noticed that I just want to call out, when we wrote the review of PracticePanther, just recently, which everybody can check out on LexTechReview.com, I was amazed at, it literally felt and looked like different software than when I had seen it a year ago. You guys move at a very, very impressive pace, and you have done a tremendous amount to really make it easy and feel like home with all of these tools that we're already using. Integration with Gmail is huge. Office 365, we live in Word and Outlook all day long. So kudos to your team, because really a tremendous amount of work has been done over the last couple of years. You guys have come a long, long way, and it's a really solid solution. And we're moving into my favorite part now, which I think I was so excited I couldn't wait to get to it, is SMS alerts. And, text messaging is the new email. People are more likely to text message their mom, their sister, their boyfriend, their husband, than they are to pick up the phone and call. And that's just the way that it is. So if you think that your law firm is going to decrease no-show rates by making 100, confirmation calls per day, yes, the confirmation calls are necessary, but that's not enough, because we have so much information coming at us that I need you to send me. If I need to be somewhere, I need to have my Apple Watch buzzing on my arm. I need to have an email. I need to have a phone call. I need to have a voicemail. I need to have giant bright lights, going off in my car every time I get a message that tell me I'm supposed to do something, because it's just, we're overwhelmed with sources of information. So my by far favorite feature, there's a lot of great things in PracticePanther, but the SMS alerts are fantastic. And the reason why I asked you to do today's session is because I don't think that law firms really understand or can quantify the value of adding this to their practice. And just to give you, a few examples, and I know you've run some kind of ROI on this, which we'll get to, but your ability to decrease no-show rates. And I'm just going to give you a use case. When I schedule an appointment with my doctor's office, with my dentist, I get a text message to confirm the date. I get a text message a week before. I get a text message the day before. I get a text message the day of. And I get a text message when I'm supposed to be there that I'm probably running 10 minutes late for. So it's, that is the amount of effort that it takes to get somebody to show up. It doesn't matter if it's a dentist or a doctor or a hair appointment or whatever. This is the nature of the appointment situation that exists between a service provider and a consumer. So I'm going to let you take over from here, David. I'm going to take a step back for a second.
You pretty much said it all. I totally agree. And this is one of the reasons we did this as well. We had the idea from actually my dentist, because they kept sending me reminders. I used to miss appointments or be late for appointments, and they kept doing this to me. So I'm like, wow, this would be a great idea for lawyers to remind their clients who also miss appointments. So 3 reasons why to use it: decrease no-show rates. You never have to miss a deadline. So this is not only for the clients, this can also be used for you and your firm. So for example, if you want to remind your paralegal not to forget about this deadline, you could submit a text message reminder, an email reminder, and a pop-up in the software. I think up to 7 reminders, similar to Google Calendar, just to make sure no one, including yourselves and your clients, never miss anything. Especially about number 3, remind yourself and your clients about court. Now, a lot of attorneys get a lot of bar complaints because of missed deadlines, which we'll talk about in a second, but this is one of the ways you can also prevent missed deadlines by enabling SMS alerts.
Absolutely. And that's a great use case, thinking about the court rules and when deadlines need to happen. It's, seeing that when you wake up or seeing that when you come into the office, timing those text message alerts to, present themselves when you've got things going on in the office is an excellent way to use it internally as a reminder tool for staff.
Correct.
So how does it work?
So very simple. Actually, it looks like this was a GIF, but I guess the GIF doesn't work. But basically, you add in a new event, new meeting, a new appointment, whatever it is, and the subject of the event could be whatever you want. Oh, here it is. It's working. Court hearing, for example, set the date of the hearing, and then you have 3 options for reminders: email, pop-up, or text message. And you could schedule it to go out whenever you want. You could add multiple reminders. So, for example, I want an email to go out 24 hours before. I want a text message to go out 18 hours before. You just constantly keep reminding whoever needs to be reminded through 3 different ways to make sure they never forget anything again.
Awesome. Awesome. And so let's talk about that second part of that use case, the automated deadline calendaring. And I feel very fortunate. Thank you for being the trusting us at LexTechReview to release this news. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
And so automated deadline rules, you've got Panther Rules powered by Law Toolbox, who's been around for quite some time. I actually just ran into their team recently, and this is a new integration for you guys. So can you share a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we loved Law. I mean, there's a few providers that do, but we love Law Toolbox, the simplicity, the number of jurisdictions they have, the number of rules they have. What I love about them is they're always willing and able to add new rules for free most of the time. If there's a rule that will benefit other attorneys that isn't in there yet, they'll add it right away, really quickly. They love feedback. They love improving. They also edit the rules on a consistent daily basis to keep them updated. So if a court changes something anytime, they will automatically update the rule, and we made sure that it will also update the rule in PracticePanther. So it's a 2-way sync. So if we go to the next slide, I believe we have a screenshot of it, the first time ever we are releasing it. So here it is. Woo! So very simple. As you can see, you add a trigger, the defendant was served, you select tool set, you already set up your jurisdiction, and it automatically gives you the trigger dates, which are kind of like the deadline dates. So it automatically puts in all the deadlines coming up for you and your defendant and your client into your calendar, into your law firm calendar, and then we don't really show it here, but we take it one step further. You have, let's say, 15 reminders and deadlines. You're going to love this, Chelsey. We tie those deadlines in to the SMS alert reminders also. So you could have 15 reminders by SMS and email as well.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well,
and
David,
yeah, go ahead.
So, and this is another screenshot just walking through. And so on, this is an add-on to PracticePanther. So you select your jurisdiction, get your court rules, all the deadlines. So this is definitely an option that you can add to, it's like insurance. It's adding insurance for, all of those reminders that you would have to manually set. I mean, I've talked to law firms where they actually have a support staff person dedicating hours of their day just checking calendars all day long, back and forth, or an entire, paralegal for a mid-sized firm. This could be a full-time job just to stay on top of it, because the consequences of missing one of these could mean that you're letting a client down, or that now a case isn't going to get settled or handled in the timeline that you originally told them, which is even worse, having to reset expectations. So
well, I'll give you a personal story that hit me hard actually as well. So I used to get quite a bit of speeding tickets, unfortunately. And one time I submitted it to a lawyer, and it was only, I think, let's say $79 a few years ago. And I got a notice in the mail one day, I totally forgot about it, a few months later, that your license is suspended. And I was freaking out. I'm like, what do you mean? I submitted to a lawyer. They should have taken care of it. And then I read a little further. You didn't show up to court. You didn't do this. You did that. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? So I called the law firm, freaking out, super upset, obviously. I'm like, my license is suspended. I'm going to go to jail if I get pulled over. What's going on? And they freaked out. They're like, oh my God, we're so sorry. They messed up. They missed a court date. They missed a deadline.
Oh, wow.
So they ended up going into emergency mode and fixing it and paying hundreds of dollars to fix it. They waived my fees. Like, it was crazy for them, but because they missed one deadline. And if they missed one, I can guarantee they missed more also. So just saving one can save you so much. And I believe some attorneys actually that use Law Toolbox, they will call their insurance companies and ask their malpractice insurance and ask for a discount when they use this, because this helps them really avoid missed deadlines. It's a big one for them.
Fantastic added bonus there. It almost pays for itself.
Pays for itself, exactly.
So we have a few more tools to help automate your firm. And actually, it's interesting. Call Ruby is first up on the list, and there is a Call Ruby discount on LexTechReview. So if you look at the Call Ruby or Ruby Receptionist review, you'll get $75 off of your Call Ruby purchase. And then you've got a couple of others here that are also both my favorites. In my favorite list, Google Alerts and LastPass.com. I use both of them. So tell us why you included them in your list of tools.
So Ruby's awesome. This is going to round out the PowerPoint for us. Ruby, we love. We see them everywhere. They're really good, really easy to use, great people working there. And basically, it's another way to automate your answering service when people call in. So the worst thing you can do when people call into your law firm is not answer the phone right away, or even answer at all, or even not get back to them. It's just terrible. So I think there was a study recently that I read that majority of people do not work with lawyers because they don't return their calls or answer right away. So it's imperative that you answer right away. Now, Call Ruby is especially good for solo practitioners and small firms that don't have the volume. They can't afford a full-time paralegal or secretary for $3,000 to $5,000 a month. I think Call Ruby is like under $300 a month for their basic plan. It's cheap. So how does it work? You have an 800 number set up. When someone calls, a person in a different state working for Ruby picks up, they automatically, when they pick up, they have all the information about your firm on the screen. So they know how to answer. They have a script that you give them and says, "Thank you so much for calling Bitton Law. How can I help you today?" And whenever the customer says something, they have scripts, how to direct them. Let me try to reach the attorney for you. You know what? They're in a meeting right now. I'll have them get back to you right away. They also serve as a gatekeeper to the tons of solicitors that call you all day. So it will save you time from that, screening calls, and it just makes you so professional to your clients. So I can't say enough good things about it, and you know them very well, I think, as well, Chelsey, right?
I know them very well. And I just wanted to make one additional point. This is a really great place to put the PracticePanther intake forms to work, because when you have it set up to send emails after an intake form is submitted, or add them to a group, you can actually give Call Ruby a link to an intake form specific to Call Ruby so that you know everything coming through a specific phone number. I'm going to give you an example. I see personal injury firms all the time, or medical malpractice, auto accidents. They buy this 100 billboards everywhere, and they put the same phone number on there. All you have to do is create a different phone number for each of your marketing activities, and by giving Call Ruby an intake form for those different phone numbers, you'll actually be able to track and measure which ones are more effective. And then you can move the money to be spent in the places that's getting you the most return. So it's about being smart about the way that you invest in technology, and also leveraging the technology to its fullest potential to make your firm more money. So just a couple of other ways that you can use the two solutions together is by creating and giving those intake forms to Call Ruby that they'll be happy to fill out when they take calls for you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking it one step further. I appreciate it. And all right, moving on to number 2, google.com/alerts. This is one that probably a lot of people know about. This is actually free. You go to google.com/alerts and set it up. It's really cool. It has real-time notifications about you, your name, people in your firm, maybe your clients' names or your law firm. So I always recommend at the end of this webinar, if you're going to take away one quick thing that's really easy, 10 seconds to do, go to this website, you put in your name and your firm name, and anytime that name comes up anywhere online, Google will automatically send you an email notifying you and alerting you that someone is talking about you. So that's an easy one. Number 3, this is one I love, I personally use. It's great. LastPass.com. There's a bunch of ones that I know that people use out there. This is one that I found that works great. It's free as well. It saves your passwords, which is what everyone typically uses it for. But I take it one step further and use it to autofill forms. So you can create different profiles. So I can have my personal profile, which is my personal credit card, personal address, home address. And then I have my work profile, which is my office address and office credit card and all this stuff. So when I'm buying something online or filling out any form online, I do one click, fill all the information out, my first name, my last name, my phone number, my address, my credit card, all this information is filled out, and it's all protected, secured, and encrypted by one master password. So it's really easy. If someone ever gets a hold of your computer, you can always turn it off, disable it, or they'll have to have access to your password, so they won't be able to use it anyways. And that's a really easy one that I recommend as well.
Yeah, that is a massive win for busy professionals in general, just because you're able to actually reset every password that you have just by logging into your LastPass account and saying, I need to do a changeover. It'll also create really, really complicated passwords for you. And remember those. So it gives you the ability to create, Loctite, really, really strong strength measurements in passwords without having to come up with like 0124XY sign, so it saves you a ton of time in that regard as well. So we are coming to the end of today's presentation, and I'm excited to share that you guys have generously offered a 10% discount off the entire year using the code that's on the screen here. PracticePanther is priced at $49 per month per user if billed annually, or $59 per month if you're billing month to month. There are zero setup and training costs, and then you get all these new features that you're adding all the time for free. Fantastic. SMS text messaging is a great example of that, like those wow features that get added that just like really elevate what you're able to do with technology. So I'm going to leave this slide up for a second, and we do have some time for Q&A here at the end. We have recorded this email, so the recording will be available and emailed to you. You'll have an option to replay it. And now let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Oh, we actually have a couple more. So
the ROI calculator, that's right. Your favorite.
Here at the end, that's right. So a lot of times firms will come to me and say, and just looking at, the pricing, let's go back to that slide for just a second. So if we're looking at the pricing slide, how am I going to get this $49 per month back, which would actually be less than that because you're getting 10% off. So if we're talking about ROI on technology and you're billing $250 an hour, and you save 1 hour per week, or there's 2 people in your firm and each of you save an hour, you're saving $500 a week. Think about how much time it takes to send all those emails, to if you're texting, you're manually texting your clients. Even if you're talking to your phone and texting it, it's still time. And then it's also still impacting the ability for you to do a continuous stream of work, setting up those automated emails. And when you're looking at the cost of PracticePanther, just to walk through this example, you're saving $500 a week times 4 weeks is $2,000 saved a month, or $24,000 saved a year. That's the cost of a part-time employee. Or the monthly cost of PracticePanther comparatively is $98. So that's $22,824 in total savings and profit over the course of a year by using PracticePanther for the first 12 months. So just some really, really hard numbers, that you can see, plain as day as to where you would be able to reap a return on investment for investing in the PracticePanther case management system.
Yeah, and so thank you for that. And generally, what I always, for myself at least, whenever I see a new piece of software, I'll give you an example. Let's say X.AI. It is the automation software we talked about before to help me schedule things. I was like, well, I think I pay $30 a month. I'm like, so how much is it worth it for me for $30 a month? Is it worth my time to be scheduling all these meetings? And in the beginning, I was like, I'm not really sure, but I'll try the free trial out. And before I knew it, I was like, wow, I actually use this a lot. Like maybe 3 times a day, I'm scheduling meetings. And 3 times a day times 20 times a month is 60 times a month. I'm doing this back and forth with people. And for $30, if it saves me 10 minutes, it's already paid itself off. So it saves me hours, and that's how I personally, at least, like to justify software. So do the same calculations yourself, and you will save a ton of time just on something like billing or following up with customers or generating documents or emailing invoices or mailing invoices or following up for payments. There's so many ways you can save time. I asked someone last week, I was like, oh, how many hours do you think you save a week? He's like, a week? I've been saving hours a day because of this. I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And
It's a noticeable difference. I mean, you can feel when a piece of technology fits into your life and it works, you actually feel some level of stress or anxiety or weight disappear. It's a physical and emotional response. Calendaring is a great example. I use a tool called Calendly, and it's very similar to the artificial intelligence tool. Like that ROI for me is not having how many meetings didn't get scheduled because the email chain started and an hour later we still hadn't found a time. It's like, hey, here's a link. You just pull this up on your screen and then look at your calendar, and whichever opening matches, that's when we're going to have a meeting. And it's the ability for me to shoot, 5 or 10 of those out via email a day and watch these calendar appointments appear that, makes my life so much easier. So that's how it should feel. It should feel like your life is getting easier, and you can't put a dollar amount on that. Personally, that's how I think about it.
Awesome.
So let's keep in touch. We've got our contact information up on the screen, but we do have some questions that have come in. David, you have a couple minutes, I think, left for questions.
I do, and actually, I think I'd like to do the first question. I have a question for you, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So going back to your emails and subject lines and the description of the email, do you recommend for attorneys to be A/B testing subject lines or even body content of the email? And can you maybe also explain to people listening in what is an A/B test for an email?
Yeah, so this is really great. MailChimp A/B testing, coming from my marketing background, where we're paying, $100,000 for marketing software a year just to be able to do A/B testing. Now it's built into things like MailChimp. And what it is it's literally sending 2 different emails to the group of people that you have in your list. So just to give you an example, when you send an email in MailChimp, it has a button that says A/B test. And you put in a subject line. So let's say I'm talking about things that are going on in my firm or using a practice area specific campaign like family law. So 3 things that you need to know before filing for divorce would be test A or email A. And then email B would be divorce services provided by Smith & Smith Law Group would be B. And now I can tell you what the winner will probably be, but it will intelligently send A and then B and A and then B and then A and then B. And within a certain period of time, it's going to show email A with subject line A, which is 3 things you need to know about divorce before filing, is being opened by more people. And the software will actually say, A wins. We're going to go ahead and send to the rest of the group email subject line A. And that's all that it is. A/B testing sounds like this crazy, hard, really sophisticated thing. It is a sophisticated thing, but luckily the technology has caught up to the point where now it's very, very efficient and practical and inexpensive and built in as a tool to let you test different messages. And I would say that that's an intermediate or an advanced marketing tactic. I always say to attorneys, if you haven't done any email marketing before, start with something easy that is able to be built into your routine. Now, if you've sent consistently your newsletter every single month, or you've consistently sent your campaign out every single week, go ahead and start playing around and looking for ways to optimize and looking for ways to make it better, because every little tweak and change that you make could mean more cases through the door. So that's a reason to pay attention to it and to also give some thought to what those subject lines should be.
Awesome. Amazing.
All right. Well, David,
we agree. Yeah.
Thanks. And so we've got some questions from our audience. First is from Martha. Martha asks, the SMS alerts are awesome. How much does it cost to send every text message through?
Great question, Martha. By the way, I see some messages coming in through the chat, so just make sure they're doing the question box instead. I think they're on the next slide. You might have the way how to do that.
Yeah, let's see. There we go. So when you open up the chat box, there's a question icon. Just click that and then enter it as a question. So we prioritize questions over thank you messages.
Awesome. Perfect. So SMS alerts. Yeah, thank you. I love them also. So how much does it cost? It is actually free. It's included for free with your cost of PracticePanther membership. And you can send unlimited text message reminders to yourself and to your clients. and there's no charge. So for a lot of the things that Chelsey mentioned, we are constantly coming out with updates almost weekly now, and all the updates are free of charge. All the integrations are free of charge. The integrations might cost money themselves, like at Law Toolbox, for example, but we don't charge you anything extra to use the integrations or to use all the new features that we offer.
Great. Excellent. And we have another one. Brandon asks, you said the promotion ends in 48 hours. Does the coupon work for a law firm with 8 people for the entire year? And I'm just going to go back and pull that coupon code up for everybody so they can see.
Yes, he's referring to the pricing promotion for people watching the webinar from LexTechReview, right? So the 10% off the first year. So that promotion is only available for the first 48 hours, and it does work for law firms of up to 8 people. There is actually no limit on this coupon code. As big or small as you are, you can use the coupon code for unlimited people within the first year, basically. And you get 10% off your first year. If you go on the monthly plan, you'll have 12 months discounted. If you go on the annual plan, your first payment will be for the whole year up front, and you will save 10% off right away off the bat.
Excellent. And then just a quick follow-up question from another attendee. Brian asks, how do I try PracticePanther and get the promotion? Is there a money-back guarantee or free trial?
Yes, sorry for not explaining that. Good question. So, okay, very simple. I'm sorry for not saying that. You just go to PracticePanther.com, and when you get there, you can sign up right from there, from the homepage, right from there, and you can start your free trial right away. There is a 7-day unlimited free trial. You do not need to put any credit cards in. You can cancel or upgrade anytime. And when you do end up hopefully becoming a paying member of ours, we welcome you to the family, first of all, with open arms, but you do also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. No question asked. We call it our Panther Promise. We want to make you happy. We want to make sure you have a good experience. We want to make sure it's saving time. So let us know whatever we can do to help. And there was one more thing I was going to mention. No, I think that's fine. Yeah, just have any questions, just let me know.
Yeah, you guys are really easy to get a hold of. So, you know, and if we haven't covered anything on today's webinar, I encourage you to, you know, reach out to the team. I get their emails. You get to see everybody's, you know, friendly face and their email signature, so you know who you're talking to. Their customer service is fantastic. So I encourage you not to be shy. You know, just really jump in or raise your hand, and they'll be happy to help. And then we have a couple more. So Natalie asks, I don't have a graphic designer in-house. Is there an easier way to build nicer looking email templates? Great question. So there are a ton of online design platforms, and David, you can jump in here too. There's Upwork.com. There is Thumbtack.com. There's TaskRabbit.com. MailChimp is a household name. So if the templates that you find in the software don't look the way that you want them to, or you want to do something specific that matches your law firm's stationery or brand, you can find people for very, very, you know, little, either on a fixed price basis or very low hourly rate, who do nothing but build email templates all day. So, you know, I've used freelance designers for my business. I know a lot of law firms that you just need something quick, you know, done or set up one time. And then once it's built, you use it for forever. Any comments on that, David?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll give you a funny story. Actually, my mother, my parents have a jewelry business in Miami, and she was like, David, your emails are so nice. How do I make nice emails like you for business? I'm like, Mom, just leave me alone. You know how they always are. So very simple. This is what I recommended to her that I will recommend to everyone as well. There's one way of doing it, like Chelsey recommended, is going to one of these websites and hiring a freelance designer to design it for you and also implement it for you in MailChimp. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, which will be a little bit maybe well, you can see that what it will look like. You can go to a website that I love called graphicriver.net, and you type in the word MailChimp, and it will show you. Right now I'm looking, it says 51 different MailChimp designs, 51 different email templates that are ready to go, built for MailChimp. So you can go here and see all of them, see which one you love the best, buy them. They're like $4 to $6. It looks like very affordable. And then the question is, how do you put them into MailChimp? If you're decent with computers, you can just, it's pretty easy. You copy and paste the code and it's there. And if you need some more help, go to one of these websites like Upwork or TaskRabbit, hire someone that's a MailChimp expert, tell them I already bought this template. Here it is. I need you to put it into MailChimp for me. And really, it shouldn't cost more than $10 or $15. They'll put it in for you, and that's it. Now you have a beautiful looking, professionally designed email template for a total cost of $20. Very easy, and it takes 1 or 2 days. It's really quick, and that's at least my opinion. So I see the next question that came in the chat. I guess I'll just take care of that one, Chelsey. So this one's from Alex. So what do you recommend if our firm wants to go paperless? So Chelsey, I'm not sure if you put your microphone on mute, by the way, but I'll just answer this one. So if your firm wants to go paperless, that's a great question. I'll tell you, when we were actually looking for an office, we actually, there you are, Chelsey. We went to one of these law firm offices to see if it was a good space for us, and they had boxes stacked up to the ceiling of paper files, and I'm sure a lot of your offices might look like that also. So paperless, the easiest, most affordable way you can do this is go to Amazon.com and purchase this scanner that I swear every attorney uses. Let me just find the name. It's a Fujitsu. Yeah, there it is. Fujitsu ScanSnap IX500. There you go. Amazing. It's $400 on Amazon. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one piece of hardware that you can't advocate for enough, it is this scanner. When I was packing for the hurricane, it was one of those items in my house where I was literally
no way.
no, but my scanner. That's how much I love this tool. There's nothing else that you can even compete with it. This thing will eat 1,000 business cards in an hour and put them into an Excel sheet for you. It will index an OCR every put in there, expense reports with receipts of all different sizes. It's just like, I can't say good, even have a tiny portable one that will fit in your laptop bag to take with you on the road. So, moving and going paperless is also business continuity for your firm. It's not just about getting rid of that, physical paper, where I've seen law firms buy extra office space to just store boxes, which I can't even imagine. But it's also about creating a backup of all of your clients' documents and files in the event of an emergency or a natural disaster, which, as we know, can hit a little bit closer to home than you'd like. So going back through all of our questions, they've been fantastic. Thank you to all of our listeners and audience members who have attended and given us your time for today. We are going to wrap up. That's all the time that we have for questions. If we see any more, we will email you the answers directly, as well as a copy of this webinar. We want to thank everyone for joining us today, and especially David, to you. Thank you for the time to be here with us. Until next time.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.